What's good, YouTube? Yo, boy 21 here, bringing you guys another episode of Top 10 today. And on today's episode of Top 10, I'm going to be bringing you guys my top 10 decks post the next challenges format. So y'all stay tuned.
From the top to the bottom, at the core, I forgot, in the middle of my thoughts.
Alright, guys, this is the top 10 decks post next challenges format. A little thing before I start the discussion. Everything is pretty much simplified to the easiest way I can describe how powerful these decks will be in the next challenger format. And I saved some of the best decks for last, so if you don't see something you think you might see right away, don't worry. These decks are in no particular order. And a lot of these decks are pretty fun and fairly budget. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting off with Yang Zings. Yang Zings, I wasn't even going to have this deck on the list going into next format, but since I heard it was getting support, I decided to research the deck before I made my list of top 10 decks for the next format. So I discovered the Dark Yang Zing tuner. This guy right here, you guys see on the screen. 0 tags, 2000 defense. I believe his name is G2. He's a 2-star tuner, as you guys obviously, but his main effect is discard 2 Yang Zings from your hand if you control no other card on the field. So basically, if you summon a monster on the field, you can pitch 2 Yang Zings from your hand, bring out 1 Yang Zing from your deck that is with 0 attack power, and 1 Yang Zing from your deck with 0 defense power. Obviously, you can't bring him out. He can't bring a copy of himself out. And then, you know, he has the entire Yang Zing clause up when he dies, etc. So, and he does something else along his effect too, but the fact that you get to search your deck for 2 Yang Zings, bring them to the field, and instantly synchro because he's a tuner, that's really amazing. I forgot. Now I'm gonna admit it. I forgot some of what the Yang Zings do. I know the turtle. I think one of the guys prevents you from spells, one prevents you from traps, monster effects, etc. So with this card, basically searching out everything from your deck, you can pretty much bring out powerful stuff first turn, like Stardust Dragon, etc. Yang Zings, as you guys can also see on the screen, is fairly consistent. They have a draw card. They have this guy, which is tutoring through the whole deck, and they all loop each other. So they can stall you out if you're going at the time just by setting one and just keep preventing yourself from attacking. And they can main skill drain because all of their protection effects activate while in graveyard. So pick up Yang Zings if you want something fun and cool to play going into the next format. Next up, SpellBooks. SpellBooks. Excuse me. SpellBooks made this list because of the most recent regional season, and this is the reason why. The deck is budget. It can fight the meta, and it's fairly consistent. I think priestesses are probably like 10 to 15s. And the reason why I can fight the meta because the deck doesn't require no special summoning, so that means the window can't do shit against it. Against the Qliphort matchup, your Spellbook of Fate is going to handle anything they put in the pendulum zones, slowing down what the Qliphort is going to try to pendulum summon. So it's going to basically hurt them pendulum summoning. And the deck does is pretty consistent. If you open up Blue Boy Secrets, the deck is pretty much, it's basically a 2-card engine for the deck. So SpellBooks is a budget deck. It's really consistent, and it has shown through the history of the past, going on 3 years now, how good the deck is from surviving through various formats and being very consistent. So once again, pick up a SpellBooks if you want a budget deck that can fight them out, and it's very consistent. Bujins. Bujins is on this list because it's a fucking helmet deck. Honestly, I hate Bujins, but at the same time, I gotta give respect where respect's due. And that's Bujins is a really, really good deck. It's budget, just like SpellBooks are. It's consistent because, you know, your motto is to pretty much, it's a 1-card engine that's tutorable, and it has 4 honest. And pretty much, it's the perfect candidate to run cards like Kaiser Coliseum. You open up your Motto Kaiser, it's pretty much game over. Your Motto Kaiser, some back row, Vanity's Emptiness, GG, no re. And I know a lot of you guys saying, well, Konami will hit Vanity's Emptiness on this next format, but you got to think about it. If they don't hit Vanity's Emptiness, Bujins is just going to be that much better. So, once again, if you guys want another deck that is budget, consistent, and can win games just by sitting on 1 card, it's a control deck. So pick up Bujins because it's budget and it's controlling and it's really cheap. Next up, Satellaknight. Now, Satellaknight is a deck that reminds me of Gadgets. I like playing Gadgets because it's my thing, and it's a deck that I know how to play really well. But I know Gadgets ain't the best deck out there, but Satellaknight is a better version of Gadgets. Yes, I'm saying it. Because they're a rank 4 toolbox, just like Gadgets are. They have a better extra deck, and they're really consistent. They control the board via their trap card that negates everything. And they can spam the field, which is Altair, and the Neb searches out to everything. So the deck has a candidate to be everything it can do, from controlling, spamming the field, and its consistency purposes. The deck does take a lot of skill to play, because you got to know when to activate what cards at certain moments. So if you feel like you're a skilled player that wants a good rank 4 consistent deck that's similar to my gadget deck, pick up Satellaknight. It will be the deck for you. Plus, it can run Honest, and who doesn't like Honest? So pick up Satellaknight. Next up, Ritual Stun. Now, this is another deck that probably kind of threw you guys off from a loophole. And the reason why I got Ritual Stun on my top 10 decks for the format is it can lock out the opponent, it can loop Honest, and it's fairly consistent. You guys got to remember, Rituals back in the day has been the archetype, has been a theme that's been supported throughout Yu-Gi-Oh history. They have Man with 1,000 Hands, Sonic Burden, etc. And more recently, over the years, when I took my Yu-Gi-Oh time off, they released cards that can be activated. They can be ritual summoned while in graveyard, the Bujins. Now, in the past set, Duelist Alliance, they released a Bujin that says when your ritual is targeted by a card effect, well, when you ritual summon it, the ritual monster use ritual summon it can be hit by a card effect. So the Ritual Stun deck is pretty much based upon using the Bujin that says your opponent can't special summon, and the guy that says they can't target your ritual monster for with card effects. And Saphira, the Queen of Dragons, is the best card. It's the best card to use with the ritual deck, because for one, both of the gens are level 3. So if you mill into the graveyard via Lightsworn engine, you can bring out Saphira with her ritual spell, locking your opponent out from special summoning, protecting her from damage from target effects, and her spell protects her from card effects and being destroyed by battle. That is honestly pretty much amazing and is really good. So the deck is fairly consistent. It's not super consistent, but it's fairly consistent, and it can loop Honest, because if you Honest, use her effect to grab it back. So Ritual Sun is on my top 10 because it can lock out the opponent, it can loop Honest, and it's fairly consistent. Next up, Evilswarm. I got Evilswarm pretty much in all of my lists, and I know you guys are probably cringing like, why Evilswarm? And pretty much 2 reasons: Shadows and Qliphorts. And pretty much bring out Ophion, set on Ophion with some back row, and it can lock out the Shadow player from using their Shadow fusion, and it can lock out the Qliphort player from bringing out the killer and spanning at the hand via, what the fuck, I almost forgot what it was called, via, gosh, guys, I'm so retarded right now. I don't understand why. Pendulum something. There we go. I'm so stupid. It can lock out your opponent via not pendulum stunning for the Qliphort player and via stalling out the Shadow player. It's consistent at what it does, and it's fairly budget. So based on that alone, I got Evil's one of my top 10 decks going to the format because of budget, purpose, consistency, and locking out 2 of the main meta decks. And plus it had, the card that protects all Evilswarms from being hit by spell traps, which I think is pretty cool. Next up, Batteryman. Now this deck, honestly, is a deck that I recently saw the power of it at locals for you guys that watch my local reports. And the deck had the power 9-Volt gave the deck is amazing. 9-Volt gave the deck consistency. The deck has that new Monarch spell card that can tribute opponent's monsters for that other Batteryman that's a level 5. The deck can OTK by spamming the field. And the deck is fairly consistent, so Batteryman had to make the list based on these facts alone. So if you guys want a deck that can control, span the field, and is consistent and pretty much fairly cheap, like almost everything in the deck is common, pick up Batteryman because that's the deck for you going into the next format. So once again, next up, Burning Abyss. And I got Burning Abyss on this list for multiple reasons. One, it just won the ARG and Indy. For 2, we already seen the leaks for the next set of TGD exclusive being Virgil of the Burning Abyss being the synchro for the deck. So the deck has more support coming up in the distant future. And I listed my other reasons on the screen right here. It makes all hand cost traps pretty much null and void. So basically all the hand cost traps are free because, you know, the Burning Abyss monsters, plus every time they go to the graveyard, the deck spams the field, which is always good because the main deck 3 tour guides, and I can't think of the Burning Abyss guy's name, but it has ones that special into the field if you have no spell trap cards and etc. And the deck can main deck Mind Crush with no drawbacks, and which pretty much won Jeff Jones the ARG. Because even if you do call wrong with the Mind Crush, you can pitch a Burning Abyss and get your monster's effect out. So with that being said, I believe Burning Abyss will be one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful deck on the next format. Next up, Shadows. And you guys probably already expected Shadows. And it's pretty much 3 simple reasons. It controls the field with Window. The deck is pretty fast with Fusion. And the deck is really consistent. Like almost every hand the deck draws is not bad. It's rarely for the deck to draw the brick hands. And the only time people draw brick hands is when they try out weird variants of it from what I've seen. So we know a lot about Shadows, and there's no really reason going into detail. The deck just gets better with the next challenges format. They have a quick play Fusion spell, which is always good. And they have more Fusion monsters going into. So if Konami don't hit the super polymerization on the next ban list, the deck's going to be insane. It's going to be a bitch to deal with. So Shadows is on this list for that reason alone. And I think last but not least, Qliphorts. I hope I spelled it right. Comment down in the comment section below if I didn't. The deck has Killer, which is the main reason why people are freaking out over the deck. And if you guys don't know what Killer does, he basically tribute. I believe he sends 1 card from opponent's hand to the graveyard. He minuses all your opponent's monsters attacked by 500 that's weaker than him. And he's unaffected by card effects pretty much. So Killer is pretty much the ultimate boss monster. And for about that reason alone, the deck is really scarce. And from watching on Lithium's channel, the deck can spam the field with the pendulum summoning. Even if you do get rid of that field, they'll just pendulum summon all the stuff back out of the extra deck again the following turn to swing for game. And the deck can main deck Skill Drain because everything in the deck is B-Stick. So once they pendulum summon their whole hand, flip over Skill Drain and just fuck you up. GG, no re. So as a recap, Qliphorts, Shadows, Burning Abyss, Batteryman, Evilswarm, Ritual Stun, Satellaknight, Bujins, SpellBooks, Yang Zings. This was my top 10 decks post the next challenges format. Thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video. It means a lot. Let's try to shoot for 30 likes this video, guys. 30 likes would be awesome. Comment down in the comment section below if you think my list was spot on with the top 10 decks post the next challenges format. And I will also comment down in the comment section below, will you guys be using any of these decks going to the next format? This was your boy 21 with top 10 decks post next challenges format, and I'm out. Have a good night.